I'm saying
it did the weird thing. It's been doing the weird thing every single time. It does the weird thing. I hate the weird thing. Anyway.
I am a weird thing.
You are a weird thing. You guys probably can't see it, but Aiden's forehead says, "I heart history, Daddy." That is important for you to know.
He's upset about it?
We are both extremely tired. It's been a long weekend. But, what are you doing? Are you booping Archie?
Yep.
Boop. From a distance?
Boop.
Oh.
Yep, there it is. Anyway.
Yeah, so, it's Halloween.
Yep. That was me last night.
Sorry, we went to Penhurst Asylum. They do a haunted attraction there every year, and I went there last night with Natalie and Iz from our Discord, our mods, and there's a lot of haze. Becca was also there. There's a lot of haze. A lot of smoke, and as a result, my lungs are not having it. We also ended up until like 4 a.m. So it's been.
Oh, you were?
Well, yeah, because you guys, wimped out of the bar.
Well, I was like,
yeah, that's what they all say.
Yeah, no, I went to bed at like 2:30.
Sure you did.
I did, and I'm glad because I slept for about 10 hours.
Yeah,
and I needed it sorely.
But yeah, we've had a very long weekend, the two of us. Oh, yeah. So forgive our tiredness. We appreciate you sticking around to watch it. I've also been moving. This will be the last podcast in this room.
Oh yeah, we gotta set up a new place at some point, don't we?
The next podcast is actually going to be in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And we will possibly have a special guest for that one.
It's only possibly.
I don't want to jinx it. We'll probably have a special guest for that one, and then after that, the next one will be in the new studio. I think. No, the next one's still going to be in Nashville.
Yeah, because you're going to be down there the whole damn time.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Nashville for a while. Knoxville and then Nashville.
Okay, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next one will be in Nashville, and then the third podcast of November will be in the new studio.
November is going to be a very interesting transition month.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to get a home filming then.
What?
We should either do it tomorrow. Or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
This week we need to film something. We've got enough to get us through this Friday. We need to film more stuff. Yeah. So yeah, but all very exciting stuff. Good things coming. But today we have we have a weird story, and we're going to give some background. For those of you who caught this past week's Friday video, it's the same story, but with the podcast we can get a little bit more conspiratorial and and whatnot. I did have somebody accuse me of not being conspiratorial enough at one point. On one of our videos this past week, and I was like, "Are you serious?
Right?
Like, really? That I'm not conspiratorial enough?" I feel like there's a lot of...
You know what the problem probably is? It's because we come at it from a pragmatic standpoint of logic, whereas specifically logic that's based in actual research fact rather than presumptive theories. So that's probably a large part of it, because we limit ourselves in terms of conspiratorial possibilities due to the fact that we double check our sources.
Yeah. It would be fun to just go completely off the rails, but that would be irresponsible.
Isn't that basically drunk folklore?
Yeah, but I have plausible deniability of being drunk in that case.
Fair. I think that's a smart way to do it, though.
Yeah. So, that's I'm sorry, I'm so tired. I needed to drink coffee before this, and I didn't. That was a mistake. We live and we learn.
We do.
Yeah. But
I had coffee before I came over.
Yeah, for those of you who aren't from the region, and we're adjacent to the Appalachian area, without being quite within it.
Yeah.
But it's easy enough to get over there and drive over there. And it is, I think that the very first thing that will hit anybody who goes through that area is how stunningly beautiful it is.
Yeah, it's very nice.
I mean, if you drive through West Virginia, through central Pennsylvania, down into Virginia, Tennessee, oh, it's just beyond beautiful.
Oh yeah.
But by the same token, it's sparsely populated, at least as well insofar as the United States can be. It's 25 million people across 13 states. It's not for example, the population of Pennsylvania is about 13 million. So we're, for 13 states, it's not a ton of people. Most of the population in these regions is underprivileged. It is a very poor area. Lots of the people who went there following coal rush, coal mining, trying to get into those back then, very good, well, not good, but very stable jobs.
Yep. It was a lot of industry in terms of coal mining, iron mining. I don't know if nickel was popular here, but
I feel like tin
might have been. But anyway, it was a lot of mining communities. I don't know how prevalent logging was at any point in our area, but just a lot of general industry that middle to the end of the last century really dried up. And unfortunately, since then, for several decades, there hasn't been a lot of good sources of income or stable jobs for those communities, and therefore they have suffered as a result. Some communities, like the one that which we live in, which was based around a iron and steel mill since the early 1800s, have been able to become revitalized, as those who have visited
tourist attractions
or can attest to. But unfortunately, for a lot of the more rural places in the Appalachian area, they're not as accessible to tourism or just general travelers of a local variety.
It's hard to get up there. And the result, after coal mining slowed down considerably, partially due to the fact that we started moving away from coal and more towards oil, nuclear, things like that. Coal energy is still very prevalent, especially in the Appalachian region where it's so plentiful. But mining techniques became a lot more efficient, a lot faster, and you didn't need as many miners. Mining became safer. You had miners dying less often. So you didn't need this steady supply of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, Over time, the region, due to the fact that it was largely isolated outside of the railroads, saw a slow decline into pretty bad poverty. If you drive through a lot of these towns up in the mountains, you're seeing people who don't have a ton of options, and they're not there because they want to be there. A lot of them are there because they really can't leave. Now, not all of them. There are people who live there and love it and enjoy it. But due to a lot of the poverty and the misunderstandings and the lack of cultural syncretism between the Appalachian region and those that surround it, there've a lot of rumors and myths and legends and stories have popped up about the region, about things like monsters that lurk out in the woods, monsters that live in the mines, monsters that live underground, monsters that live in the trees. There's a lot of monsters involved.
If you want to see like a good example of these areas in which we're speaking about, we have a video in which we were in Centralia, which has a couple of towns directly around it that embody a lot of those elements. We talk about these topics in that video.
And you drive through and it's very strange. It's like it's something that should be dead, but it's not. And you can't help but feel for the people who are stuck there, living in just these really unfortunate circumstances, and there's nowhere to go. Nobody wants to buy the land. There's nothing there. The more we move away from coal, the worse it gets. So you're just kind of watching all these old towns just slowly die. Where we live, it was able to revitalize because of the location. They can't. But you get a lot of these stories about, basically suggesting that people from Appalachia are stupid or inbred or any number of things, and that's not true. Poor, yes. Don't have a ton of opportunities, yes. But the picture you get from these people through the media is just completely incorrect and completely insulting, to be honest. But they are a fascinating mix of cultures up there. You've got Native American, you've got African American from a lot of forced resettlement. And then you had waves of when they discovered the coal and all that, they, the people who were doing a lot of that in the English-speaking world were Welsh, Irish, Scottish. So you got a ton of people who came in from those regions, and then you got waves of Italian and Slavic migrants. So just, 4 significantly different cultures, but something they all had in common was that they were looked at as outsiders. And this is part of what created this idea of the Appalachians as being this area where a lot of freaky stuff happens, is because the folklore from all these various different cultures all came in and combined. And that gave you all sorts of stuff. Like, we have a video on the Bell Witch. We have a video on Bigfoot. We have a video on Mothman. We talk about, in the Eloise Lindsay video that we posted on Friday, we talk about the Flatwoods Monster, that little experience where you got a bunch of kids who are out playing I believe they were playing soccer or baseball, and they see something fall out of the sky. They run, tell their mom and a couple of their friends. They grab their neighbor who's a National Guardsman. They all run off towards the crash site, and reportedly they saw an alien, or a spaceman, or some sort of experimental military technology. I think it was September of 1952. So, all these different things. A lot of stuff that sounds kind of like owls, to be honest. And then you have other stuff, like there's a ton of Celtic folklore that made it into the region. Like, one that I came across was the Sin Eaters. It's a very Welsh tradition. But these are people who consume a ritual meal. And the idea is that you are taking on the sins of a deceased person to make it easier for them to reach heaven. All comes out of, old, like, Catholic and older style Christian beliefs about sin and the path to heaven and redemption and all of that. You're not eating a person, but you are,
taking on their sins.
There's a lot of possible reasons you might do this. You might be paid to do this. But the belief was that these people, since they were carrying so much sin, were in fact dangerous, like, to be around. You didn't, like, just, they might rub off on you, something like that, where it was just, you'd get paid, but you probably wouldn't have many friends, if that makes sense. But Celtic culture is super cool. We're, of course, approaching Halloween, which is, in a lot of ways, a lot of the celebration is derived from Samhain, which is an old Celtic holiday.
We have a video about that, I think.
We do a video about that as well, yes.
That's going back like a year now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird to say.
Yeah, I mean, you might recognize it as Samhain, but that's not how it's pronounced in Gaelic.
It's not how you pronounce it in Gaelic.
But yeah, it's to give you the quick version of that, it is a Gaelic festival marking the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. It is kind of like it's not a solstice, right? It's a
Equinox.
No, it is a solstice, right? No, solstice is
Yeah, it would be an equinox.
Yeah, vernal and autumnal equinox.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's a celebration of the autumnal equinox.
Yeah.
Most European cultures, countries, nations celebrated this in some form or another. Usually solstices and equinoxes were just celebrated, seen as, stages in the year. Now we, January 1st is the start of the year. December 31st is the end of the year. That's why a lot of cultures that don't use the Gregorian calendar format, the one we currently use. That's why so many of them have New Year's that fall a month after.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Or 2 months.
In terms of the actual galactic mechanisms that our planet inhabits, the solstices and the equinoxes make more sense to celebrate, considering that's when, due to the Earth's tilt, we have specific points in relation to our association with the sun during those periods of the year.
So it was the Romans.
Who, the Gregorian?
Well, no, that was the Julian, but it was reformed into the Gregorian.
Got it.
But the Romans were the ones who made January 1st the first day of the year.
Naturally.
I love looking up things on Quora because it's basically everything you get is somebody asks a question, the top answer is always wrong.
Oh yeah.
always wrong. Like,
Oh yeah, the boy's down there. He's very tired.
yeah. Like, for example,
We were giving him boops earlier.
somebody in here said it's because the British told us to, and I'm like, yeah, but why did the British do it? Like,
What?
and then you have all these people who are convinced that Christians stole holidays from pagans. Like, that's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
Somebody very confidently commented on one of my TikToks the other day saying it was Aram Nasorkhang had made a video about the word Easter and the etymology behind it. And I added on to it because a lot of people think that there was a celebration of a goddess named Estra or Ostara, who and the Christians stole it and renamed it to Easter, and it's actually a celebration of a pagan god or goddess of rejuvenation. Of course, Easter is only called Easter in Germany and the English-speaking world. The rest of the world calls it some variation of Pascha because it's based on the Hebrew word Pesach, which means Passover.
Yeah.
It really is stunning to me how quickly people will just believe something.
Well, because they don't.
Without even doing the slightest shred of research on it.
Because if they are given a piece of information and no real reason to doubt its legitimacy, why would they, from their perspective, why would they waste their time looking into it to see if it's actually correct?
Yeah, it would make no sense, right?
Exactly.
Oh my God. Yeah, you'll get plenty of videos coming up in the next couple months as we get to each holiday that people seem to think was stolen from the Christian or from the pagans by the Christians. But, for the time being, that's not really the goal here.
Well, then we'll just make videos that refute that.
Exactly. That's the fun part. Weird Bible is going to be fun in December.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
But what about these other folklore elements? What about the feral people? What about the wild men of the Appalachians? I've been reliably informed that down there, you've got entire communities of inbred people who have spent all of their, last 100 years just becoming less and less human and targeting normal people and hikers and all of that. And, this is most of the Appalachians, right? It's almost everyone's inbred up there, right? Not quite. But there have been sightings of wild men, so to speak. For example, there was one in 1871 down in Tennessee. Locals were warned of a large, hairy man with glowing red eyes who was trying to kidnap women. In 2015, a man came forward by the name of, it was Rob... Where was it? Rob, where'd it go? I had it here. Rob Phillips.
There you go.
Rob Phillips claimed that he and his cousin were hiking to Watauga Cliffs, Tennessee. The cousin's name was Randy, and they were on a camping trip. Rainy summer day, just hiking through the woods. Pretty dark because it's rainy and they're in the woods. And they heard a branch snap and realized that the forest around them was completely silent. And then, according to them, they were kind of chased around through the woods by some 9-foot tall, hairy man with fur that was neither fine nor coarse. It was somewhere in the middle, according to them. And he lost his cousin in the darkness, but was somehow able to see the wild man up a tree in front of him. To be honest, the story is pretty dubious, like that, as a lot of them are.
Yeah.
But it's not the only one. And there, you see them repeatedly show up across the country, and usually in places like the Appalachians or the Rockies. A lot of people over time, a lot of families, a lot of communities have gone missing for some reason or another. Natural disasters wipe them away, something along those lines. But, for example, with the Donner Party, who were stranded crossing the Rockies on their way to Oregon. Had they not been found, had they gotten off track and decided to just stay put instead of trying to get back, trying to get to safety, with assuming that they didn't try to get back out, within 3 generations, the likelihood is that would be a pretty, rooted in community. Now, would they necessarily be feral at that point? Probably not. But what if it's smaller? What if it's a single family that goes missing in the woods?
Yeah, I have a feeling the feralness of any individual or small group of individuals has less to do with the environmental factors that they're experiencing, but more some inherent...
Yep.
Yeah.
Because if you have a family that goes and gets lost...
Yeah.
Inbreeding might occur. If inbreeding occurs, you find yourself in a position where within 3 generations you can lose sibling to sibling inbreeding. A lot of people don't know this, don't get it. Sibling to sibling inbreeding across 3 generations is going to result in kids that likely can't even talk.
Yeah.
That they might be able to, think and perform basic functions.
Yeah.
But they're not going to have the ability to form complex sentences.
Yeah.
You can find videos of people in this very sad situation. There's a family in Odd, I think it's West Virginia, who are an example of this. It's about 3-4 generations of inbreeding, and one of the family members can't talk. He can only bark. And that's not to say anything bad about them as people, but that is the effect that you get, It causes violent behavior, irrationality, lower intelligence.
Yep.
Inbreeding is a hell of a drug.
That's putting it mildly. It's like crocodile on roids.
So you could very easily end up in a situation where a family, or 2 families even, went off into the mountains 150 years ago, and the offspring 150 years later are not super recognizable as human, violent, incapable of communication in the same way that we understand it. That is a possibility, and there are people who have mentioned coming across, for example, there was one account I read of a party of people traveling west at the end of the 1800s who came across a Confederate veteran living up in the mountains who had been alone out there for 30 years. And he wasn't subhuman, but he was definitely not all there.
Yeah, well,
by that point. He had fled assuming he was going to be prosecuted for rebellion.
Well, and there's a reason why solitary confinement is an advanced punishment within prisons.
Oh, yeah. If you're out and about and alone for too long, it will screw with your mind.
Yeah, it just psychologically, we are, by nature, social beings, and when you isolate any human for an extended period of time, it will literally change your brain chemistry.
So, the question arises, is it possible that off in, an area like the Appalachians where there's not a there's a lot of places to hide, so is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Is it possible that is why for 12 days, Eloise Lindsay, after leaving the trail, believing that 2 either construction workers or hunters walking behind her, I'm not sure how you mix those things up, and it doesn't seem to be her that mixed them up, it was the newspapers who were reporting different things.
Yeah.
According to her, she heard 2 of them talking about her, behind her on the trail, became concerned for her safety, left her bag just off the trail, and ran off into the woods. She thinks they chased her, which it is possible that at first these 2 men did chase her, thinking that maybe she needed help, or maybe they even were actually chasing her, trying to do something bad to her. That's also a possibility. But for 12 days... Because Eloise, when she was found, the reason that she didn't run away is because she couldn't.
Yeah.
She had infections all over her feet. She physically could not run away. So when this deer hunter who found her offered to rescue her, she was initially very skeptical and concerned. For those who haven't seen the video we put out a few days ago, Eloise was, it was 1989. She had graduated from college. She was 22. She was trying to decide what to do with her life. She headed into the Foothills Trail at Table Rock National Park on the Carolina border between North and South Carolina. And her plan was, I think it was a 43-mile hike. She was expected to rendezvous with someone on the 12th of November. She left on the 4th. when
Do
she didn't.
do you remember who she was supposed to rendezvous with?
I've heard a couple different versions. It seems to be one of her friends.
Okay.
But that seems most likely, is that it was one of her friends. She also did write on the trail log that she was with someone. She wrote the name George Lindsay. There is no George Lindsay.
Yeah.
But she didn't want people behind her to know that she was alone, because it's simply not safe.
Yeah.
When she didn't show up, they launched a search for her, and the search actually ended. They didn't find her. It was just by chance that a hunter, his name was Wayne Hooper, who was hunting deer, came across her. She had been sleeping in a burned out truck. And she had been surviving off of a bag of... this is the weird part. She had found a bag of pastries and, like, donuts. Pound cake and donuts, specifically.
Right.
A lot of people mentioned in forums about this story that the people will leave trail gifts behind. Eloise was not on the trail.
Mm-hmm.
Why was there a bag of donuts and pound cake hanging from a tree? Yes, it might be a bear bag, but why did somebody leave a bag of pound cake and donuts?
I mean, there's they could have forgotten, but it's also just a very weird assortment of foods to bring.
And they were fresh enough to eat.
Yes, and leave in a bear bag. Also, if it was just like a cache for someone to come back to,
Who was hunting, possibly.
who was hunting, why in a tree? I mean, like, there is a plausible, possible, scenario, but it's so weird.
It's the situation we commonly run into researching these cases where it's not that there's no explanation.
It's just the
It's
explanations
that
are
all
weird.
of the explanations for each individual thing that happened
Yeah,
tend to contradict.
yeah,
Like, oh, well, if she found the pastries, maybe it was just a trail gift. Well, she wasn't on the trail.
yeah.
Maybe it was just a hunter's cache. Why were they fresh and in a tree?
Yeah.
Like, maybe.
People are weird and they make weird decisions,
Yeah.
but
There's a lot of weird decisions at once here.
yeah.
Is kind of the issue.
Yeah.
And somebody just said in the chat, trying to lure her out, possibly. Fact of the matter is, for 12 days, she was convinced she was being chased.
Yeah.
Now, would traffickers chase somebody for 12 days off the trail into the woods? Probably not,
Unlikely.
because it's not worth their time.
Also, we all can agree that human traffickers should just be shot and killed.
Well, yes, but the point is, like, behavior-wise,
Yeah.
doesn't really track. They would look for easier prey.
Yeah.
So there's just really no... there's no solid explanation for why she was so sure she was being chased.
Yeah.
And she knew that they were looking for her. She knew that there were people looking to rescue her. She was aware of that.
Yeah.
And yet she chose to continue running away because she was that convinced she was being followed. The police didn't look into it at all. Like, they looked for her, but they did not follow up on her claims.
Yeah. I remember in our recording of the video, it was along the lines of essentially they dismissed pretty much everything she said.
They basically said, we think she just got paranoid and ran away. Somebody accused me of white knighting for her in the comments, which I thought was funny because that's not like what I do. But basically what I said is that it seems like what happened here is that the police at the time were just being sexist about it. Which, it's 1989. That's not shocking.
No,
but the
not at
police basically said, yeah, this was just some woman being paranoid and chose not to investigate.
Yeah.
Whether you want to get conspiratorial and say they knew what was out there and chose not to investigate or not, fact of the matter is they shirked their duties they shouldn't have, and thank God she ended up being okay.
Just the fact that, like, obviously there are some people who are not all there who would do what she did in in being out in the wilderness for 12 days, surviving under an element of paranoia. Mm-hmm. But even if she wasn't all there, and that was what happened, she deserves the attention given to a proper investigation, at the very least, to confirm she's not all there, or refute that initial observation, potentially, and get to the bottom of whatever the issue may have been and why she was being followed if that was in fact the case. Every story's worth checking.
Yeah.
Because it might save a life.
Sorry, I'm looking through here. See, people are saying stuff in the chat.
Well, welcome, Noah.
Oh, so yeah, thank you, Noah. I appreciate that. But yeah, so there was basically they were just dismissive. They didn't care what she had to say. And her story, as far as it was reported by the media, is pretty limited. It seems like nobody really took her super seriously. If you go and you read the David Paulides version, there's a lot of details I couldn't corroborate. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's false, but we very deliberately do not include information we can't corroborate, because that's just not how this works. Somebody also got mad at me for that, and they were like, well, what about this part of the story? And I was like, couldn't verify. What do you want me to include the part where this guy 2 years later came and said, oh, well, I think I saw a car driving away from this spot, maybe that was it? No, that's not. I can't draw conclusions from that. And a lot of people want to, but they're upset that they're not going to get the Cat Made stream. History Data, you're actually wrong. It's not the $1,000 goal. It's the Cat Made was the $1,420. 1,000 was
that the yoga or the 80s aerobics? I'll pull it up. I have it on a Google Doc.
Not for the 1,000. But yes, that is correct. The donation total is on the top right of the screen. 619.08.
Yes, the 1,000 was the Lore Lodge 80s aerobics video.
Okay. Yeah.
750 was the VeggieTales Revelation skit.
Yes.
So we're not even at that yet.
They are going to get the 500 and the 250 though.
Yeah, the 250 was the Skunk Ape song and the Conspiracy Theory song, and the 500 was submit articles and grade them on stream. That's
going to be a fun one.
I'm looking forward to that.
But yeah, so that's where we are. Some people did mention that the trail gifts could have been left by the Fae, which, if you believe in that kind of thing would mean that you don't want to take them, or at least if you do take them, you don't say thank you. The way that works, and this would track, because the area was settled by a large number of Celtic immigrants, it would track that they would believe in the Fae folk as an idea. And if the Fae leave you a gift and you're supposed to take it and appreciate it, but you're supposed to not say thank you. Or you can also not take it is an option. My understanding of this is one of the areas where there's so many different versions of it that I struggle to keep track.
Yeah, that's fair.
My understanding is if you receive a gift from the Fae, you take it, you treasure it, and you do not say thank you, because then you owe them. I've also seen versions that say don't take it. So I don't know, particularly with this one. That's a question. It's a better question for Piper.
I was going to say, it sounds like we need to bring Piper back on.
Yeah. But
how are her books doing, by the way?
They're doing really good. Next one's coming out, I think, in a few months.
Nice.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I think like February or something like that.
Yep.
But yeah, so the Eloise Lindsay case, I would love to expand more on it, but we really had a hard time finding verifiable details.
I mean, in editing the video, I spent a good 20 minutes trying to find just a picture of her.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find a verifiable one.
There's like 2 from the newspaper.
Yeah.
That I found. That's really it. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I'm so tired right now. This is bad. But it is 7:45, which means it is time for the question and answer section of the stream.
Sometime.
So, if you guys want to send those in, we will answer super chats first. We're going to go until 8 o'clock, unless the super chats continue past 8 o'clock.
I have a question for chat, actually.
Go on.
As we all know, my hair is getting very long, and I I had gel in it last night to tame it down and back for the costume I had. But how do I get this look, the non-frizzy, like laid down look, all the time? Or at least on the top here, because I like it when it's curly here. I don't know how to take care of my hair, and I need help. So please, thanks. Anyway. Do we have,
Yeah, I'm getting there.
But yeah, if you guys know of any products or any routines or whatever, I have like a shampoo and conditioner that I use, but that doesn't necessarily always seem to work enough. It seems like the leftover gel that's in here is like helping it stay down as I would desire it, but I don't know how to do that on its own. Anyway, totally off topic, but
All right. Well, we have some chats to get to. Just Nacho762 for 5 said, when you come to Knoxville, I have to meet yins. If we have time to go out into Knoxville, we will probably post about it in the Discord.
Yeah.
I make no promises, but if we are able to do stuff with people, we will. But it's going to be a lot of filming. So, Spoon says, my favorite cryptid is the glob gabble glob. The glob gloga. Aiden, can you read this?
Yeah. My favorite cryptid is the glob.
That's a G.
Glob. I think it's the thing.
Glob.
I mean, it's
I can't speak.
I think it's that wormy thing from that book in the movie in the library.
Huh?
Yeah, it's like it's a meme. What's the difference between regular conditioner and leave-in conditioner?
Oh, yep, it is the.
Yep.
It is one of the supporting characters in the critically panned 2012 Christian allegorical animated film Straczynski and the Mysterious House.
Yeah, the whole thing was, from what I recall, it was an attempt to say books and reading are bad. So essentially trying to convince kids that they should not broaden their horizons and learn, because all they need to learn is from the Bible, which... There's a lot of good lessons in the Bible. Those are not the only lessons you should learn. That's what I have to say on that.
It's so funny looking.
As the resident Jesus-looking one.
Yeah. All right. Jake Manter says, are there any news of feral people in Maine? Not that I've heard of. I haven't heard any stories of it from Maine. The prominent Maine one I hear is the Palmyra Wolves story.
Right,
which you might classify that as a sort of feral people issue. I mean, I came to the conclusion that this could have something to do with people living as, like berserkers, like, or the Native American equivalent, the Adlet.
Good morning, boy. Bless you.
Because, I mean, that would be the only way that it would make sense without being supernatural.
Yeah.
History Daddy for £2 asks, is there any Wendigo hentai? Asking for a friend.
He answered his own question later on in the chat.
Every day, I think that we took the wrong side in World War One.
Every day, huh?
Should have joined the Germans in that one. Taking out the Brits once and for all.
The spiky helmets?
Yeah.
Oh.
We picked the right side in the second time around, though.
It was hard not to.
Yeah, we did pick the correct side in World War II.
That was pretty blatant.
Yeah. I think we should have exploited it in World War I, let them all fight each other, and then just conquered Europe ourselves.
It would have been fun. You know what? Come and drop my Jesus film. I just realized I could have done Jesus for Halloween.
It's probably best that you didn't.
Really? Why?
Might have offended some people.
Really?
Yeah. It's just typically good to not dress as Jesus or Moses or like Muhammad.
Well, Muhammad.
They get really mad if you dress as
Muhammad. I was going to say Muhammad's a different story.
That gets you Charlie Hebdo'd. Let's see. Noah Isaac for 10 said, I will help get us to the Maiden of Feline Mattis. Oh, God.
We're not getting there yet.
Sam Page said, would you check out New Zealand or Maori? I forget how it's pronounced. I think it's Maori, something like that.
Yeah, Maori looks like it. Right?
Giants in the south and pale vampiric tribes in the forest. I also want to hear you pronounce... That looks like Wakatane.
Yeah.
Wakatane, probably.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be my guess. Wakatane.
Wakatane.
Yeah. I would check it out. We're doing a video on Giants with a couple of buddies, so that might work well going into it. Let's see what else we got over here, because I had to go down to the other one. All right. Iz said, hi, I'm still stuck in transport. Oof. But hi, I saw you today. But hi, also give Archie love. Archie, come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. Come see me. Come on. No. Rude.
You want to come up? You too tired? Can I lift you or you're going to squeak?
He might squeak, but lift him anyway.
Okay.
All right, well, I wanted to show the boy to the people anyway. That was the goal, so we're going to have a discussion about loyalty tonight. But it's fine.
He sees you more than he sees me.
Fair enough, fair enough. All right, let's see. Let's get that one scrolled down to the bottom. We'll use this one to keep up with super chats. Let's see, scrolling down, scrolling. Jack Manson said, just don't mess with Fae. I have a Catholic priest as a mentor, and he says, respect the old gods, but don't worship them. That surprises me to hear from a Catholic, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I like that.
It's a good way to put it. As far as I'm concerned, from a theological standpoint, those old gods are not gods, but they do have power.
Nephilim?
Demons.
Ah. Really?
Yeah. That is the biblical perspective on it, is the gods of other nations are generally like demons.
Even if they're like technically like good gods?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Demons aren't inherently like evil in a human moral sense.
What's the evil sense in...
Like they go against God, therefore they're bad. But in a human moral sense, you could still have a demon that like does good things for people.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it wouldn't be,
So Zeus exists, he's just a demon?
Basically it would be like if the being that the Greeks recognized as Zeus, if you were to go by a Christian paradigm, would be a demon.
Got it.
Yeah. Let's see. Kellen, the official data, says, I want to say moose for your hair.
Okay.
Heavy Burn Man says, consider ATFOC. Thoughts. My thoughts is that the ATF does not deserve respect. That is my thoughts.
Fair.
The other Korean, for $10, says, hey, Aiden's always good to see you guys stream. Thank you. What happened to October's Weird Bible podcast? Was super excited to get into Joshua's story after Exodus. Happy All Hallows Eve. Yeah, it was literally just a scheduling thing. We could not find... we couldn't make it work this month. But you will get it next month. I promise you that. We will have an opportunity to plan that in great detail soon. But yeah, the Weird Bible is... I have... there's exciting stuff in the works. I can't say much, but exciting stuff in the works for Weird Bible.
Gotta love that.
Dos Nachos for 10 says, did you guys not do Weird Bible to avoid Wendigoon getting the goal to 750? No, actually. It really was a scheduling thing. I love doing the Weird Bible show. It's so much fun. We just could not get it done this month. I do intend to get to it next month.
Nice.
All right. Any missing 401 cases in Illinois? There is a national forest. I can't think of any that I know of off the top of my head. But we are getting to a point where we're starting to run out of the better known ones. So we will definitely be looking into lesser known ones. Those will probably, though, be like top 3 style videos. Because we just won't be able to find as much information on the lesser known ones.
Yeah.
So you'll get like, top 3 missing 411 or top 3 like, unsolved disappearances in Joshua Tree National Park or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's how those will look. Let's see. Problematic Farmer says acting a little too straight.
Us?
Us?
What do you want us to do? Kiss?
I mean, he seems to.
He really wants to.
Kellen, the official data, says if you do look into Illinois, look into Starved Rock State Park, site of a massacre by 2 warring tribes.
When we write it down.
How does a rock starve?
The beat dies.
You're fired. Austin TW says Illinois best total defense, top scoring defense, chaos in the Big Ten. Illinois to the CFP. If we beat UM and OSU and CCG, is Texas back next year, please? I don't know how to answer these questions. All I know is I'm sad because Penn State got dropped
Really?
by Ohio State.
Ooh.
I was really hoping. I knew we weren't going to make the playoffs, but I was at least hoping we could tank their dreams.
Yeah.
We did not. Yeah, it's just upsetting.
That's a shame.
Like, Penn State made the biggest mistake in football history by signing James Franklin to a 10-year contract. Guy can recruit, but he coaches like he's about as good at coaching as I assume Joe Biden would be. So yeah, that's where we are. It's really incredible. He finds a way to screw the game every single time. He is the master of losing. Of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah.
He is the master of it. They really want us to kiss.
They do. Also, heads up, they did hit the VeggieTales Revelations skit.
Oh boy, now we got writing to do. We have a lot of writing to do.
We have a lot of general things to do. Also, they are now a little less than 250 away from the Lore Lodge 80s aerobics video. Where we would be in neon leotards and warmers and headbands and all that stuff. So good luck getting to that.
Aiden's, I'm 6'2", 280, and thinking of going as Jason Voorhees for Halloween. Thoughts? It sounds perfect.
You're built for it.
You literally
Do it.
built different.
I wish.
Plaz says, I remember one minor paranormal encounter I had. Got laid on by a spectral cat. Went to sleep while house sitting. Home cats couldn't get in. Felt cat.
What?
Huh? Home cats couldn't get in? Are you sure that the cats didn't just find their way inside, Plaz? Skeptical of this one. Are you pulling the rug? Are you pulling my leg?
You pulling my chain. I don't know why I got Southern there.
I don't know. Do you think my tractor's sexy?
Yes.
Okay. Any spookiness, Wrenchman177 says, any spookiness from Prince William State Forest in Virginia? Just got back from a weekend there, no experience, but it was home to 1,000-foot deep mine back in the 1800s, 1900s. Back in the 1900s is a statement that hurts me.
Yeah, why does everybody keep saying
I'm from the 1900s.
Why does everyone keep saying it that way?
I don't know, but I will look it up.
I know there's people that it started on a podcast as a joke of oh yeah, back in the 1900s. I think it was the I can't remember. My coworker was showing it to me on the car ride back from New York earlier this week. But yeah, people keep saying back in the 1900s as though it was a long time ago, and it's weird. But I guess technically, we're in the 2020s.
Yeah.
I bet in the 1920s people were saying back in the 1800s.
Yeah, we're farther away from 2000 than 1980 was from 2000.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah. I'm turning 25 in 11 days. We're old. We're elderly men. All right, so let's see. We've got Mayor Kid. It's like John Mayer. Thoughts on the glitter conspiracy? GlitterX, one of the largest glitter companies, refuses to answer which industry serves as the largest buyer. Largest buyer doesn't want us to know it is glitter. What?
What?
Watch it be like military of some sort. The largest glitter, one of the largest glitter companies, refuses to answer which industry serves as the largest buyer.
Yeah.
It's either got to be something really dirty or like something really top secret.
Or just something you wouldn't expect.
Although I don't know that individual college girls count as an industry, but I would assume that is the largest buyer of glitter.
You would think.
You would think.
But then that would just be retail stores.
Basically, anytime there were girls in my apartment in college, there was glitter. The next day.
Glitter everywhere.
Glitter everywhere. Yeah.
I wonder why.
There were a lot of glitter.
No, I wonder why we would want to be hidden.
I don't know, but now I want to look up GlitterX.
We're going to be doing it. We're going to do an expose video on GlitterX. No, we're not. I don't
Have
know.
you heard of the High Elves? Which High Elves specifically? Joseph for 10 says 750 goal. Well, y'all hit it. Here's all of the kith. Dos Nacho. Where'd it go? Dos Nachos said Tennessee 7-0. Let's go Vols. I don't know who. Oh, is that Volunteers?
Who's Tennessee playing? I can't. If it's against Alabama, woo!
If it is, yeah, absolutely.
If it can, other than that, I can't say.
Also, I assume by 7-0, do you mean that that's their record for the season?
It must be. Birds are 7-0 now.
Yeah.
Did you watch any of the game?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was good.
Nice.
It was very nice to watch.
Wonderful.
Looks like that is their record. They did beat Alabama 52-49.
Let's go.
Then they beat Kentucky 44-6. Oh my God! They beat Tennessee Martin 65-24
I wonder how the Phils are going to do tonight.
at home.
Yeah.
Coming off a loss.
My prediction was they needed to lose last night so they could come back strong tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure hoping.
They needed, like, my prediction was they won the first one, so that's good momentum, but then they had to lose away, so that way we'd light a fire under their ass when they
Yeah.
come home, and then win 2 in a row.
We've got two in a row at home, and then we go back to Houston, right?
Houston, and then after the 2 at home, it's back and forth, back and
Yeah.
forth, back and forth, which is,
Until it ends.
yeah.
Philadelphia right now is having quite a year.
Yes.
Noah Isaac for 5 says, also interesting fact, I have a family member who signed the Illinois Constitution for a free state, as in to not be a slave state. I assume that's what you mean.
I would hope.
In which case, that's a really cool connection to have.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Let's see. Kellen, the official data, says one tribe had another back to a cliff edge where they starved or threw themselves off into the Illinois River. That does explain Starved Rock. That's
Cheers.
yikes. Dos Nachos said someone contact Wendigoon. Problematic Farmer for 50.
My dude.
She's in the other room.
My dude.
Said heart.
Does she want to come on?
Sorry, I'm scrolling through. Variant.
What do you
for
mean
5.
praying for a Phillies L and an Eagles L?
Who said that?
Cargus and Mayor Kid. The hell, guys?
What do you mean, go Cowboys? Y'all are in for a rude awakening when you play us again.
You come into my house, kick my dog, and steal my box of pencils?
What?
What are you talking about, go Cowboys?
I want the boy.
This wolf over here is gonna bite you. Them words, them be fighting words.
Them words do be fighting words.
Oh, he's such a...
If we make the Big Ten CCG, we'll avenge you, I swear. I would appreciate that. We need it. All right. So, what time is it? It is 8:07. We are out of Super Chat.
History Daddy, you're not...
Aiden and I are exhausted. So, unfortunately, we are gonna end the stream after this. So, thank you guys so much. We will be much more awake for you next time, and we will almost certainly have a very special guest. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Sheev did, before we go, say live Gussie hunt with Cat Maiden. You might get a live ghost hunt. I won't be a Cat Maiden for it, but all right. Thank you, everybody. It has been a pleasure, and we will see you on the next one.
Adios.